is the last day of open training camp for the fans. So this is going to be my last rapid recap of training camp. It was day 12 today, Wednesday, August 7th. So let's get into all of the updates. First of all, starting with the quarterbacks. I didn't feel like Purdy was pushing the ball downfield a lot today. There was a lot of would-be sacks, and I'll get to that more in a bit when I talk about the defense. But I feel like, an underlying theme of camp has been, these quarterbacks having a hard time finding some guys open. I don't always put that on him. I think today he was just looking for those short and quick developing plays. But he did throw 2 interceptions today, both to George Odom. Both I was pretty confused as to what he was seeing on those. The first, he was targeting Jordan Mason, just put too much air under it. It was kind of downfield intermediate. So Odom had time to, close and swoop in and get that interception. The second one, I couldn't tell who he was targeting on that one. The ball just came out really low, and so Odom just snagged it before it hit the floor. He did have some nice throws today, though. Purdy did. He had a dime to Kittle as well in team, and another tight window throw between 3 defenders to Juwan Jennings. So it wasn't all bad for Purdy today. Maybe just, like I said, not being overly aggressive today. A theme that I keep seeing from Brandon Allen, aside from holding on to the ball quite a bit, but again, that could be because maybe wide receivers aren't getting open and whatnot. Allen will throw 2 ahead of his receivers, especially outside the numbers. He doesn't look super comfortable throwing it into tight coverage. So he'll try to throw it where the corner can't really make a play on it. But oftentimes it's out of reach for the receiver. Or maybe he just has accuracy issues. Hard to say which one it is. Dobbs started off kind of slow today as well, but I thought he ended the day pretty strong. 2 of the more exciting plays that I saw in practice today came at the end with Dobbs throwing to Tay Martin. That was a diving catch for him. Maybe a better catch than a throw, but still nice. And then that was followed by the only touchdown of the day, thrown from Dobbs to Trent Taylor. That's despite several move the ball periods. That was the only touchdown that the 49ers had today. So like I said, just not a crazy or entertaining day from the offense. No CMC or Elijah Mitchell because both of those guys are nursing their respective injuries. Patrick Taylor Jr. Also was not seen today. So more opportunities for Jordan Mason, Cody Schrader, and Matt Breida. 49ers also signed a running back, Keyshawn Vaughn, formerly of Tampa Bay. So he got some run today as well. But obviously, it's his first day. So his involvement, especially in team periods, was a little sparse. Breida, though, he looked pretty good. And I'll say, Mason continues to have a lot of involvement out of the backfield as a pass catcher. So he's been a reliable, outlet for them on, check downs or things like that, short throws. As far as the wide receivers, no Pearsall today. And I feel, like I said, the underlying theme of camp is that it's becoming clear that the wide receivers are having issues separating consistently. I think the key term there is consistently. It's not like they can't separate at all or ever, but I think we see often enough that the quarterbacks are taking a lot of coverage sacks in camp because they can't find someone open right away. So it's just kind of impacting the quarterback's ability to get the ball out quickly. But you're still seeing Deebo heavily targeted, Juwan Jennings as well. I do feel like Jennings is poised to make a leap this year. That's not to say he's going to be the next, Brandon Ayuk for this offense by any means, but, he's playing with a lot of confidence. Ronnie Bell, I think, continues to make the same types of catches. It's every practice you see him make a high point, up in the air catch over defenders somehow. That's his bread and butter. And so he's been super reliable with those. I guess quarterbacks maybe have just come to trust him that he's going to come down with it. A guy that has tapered off for me in the second half of camp has been Danny Gray. I thought, and I have mentioned this, he started off maybe that first week of camp with momentum. He's getting a lot of targets, and that has just decreased pretty significantly. He did get some targets today. He had one pass thrown to him that I thought he should have caught. It just kind of hit his hands. It was just dropped. And so I don't know, it's just fallen off a little bit. I think the injuries, if anything, may be hindering him, which has kind of been the story of his NFL career so far. So he was still in that no contact blue jersey today. So something to keep an eye on. We'll see if he plays on Saturday and how much. Tay Martin got more targets today, so that's cool for him. He seemed to be one of the beneficiaries of Ricky Pearsall being out today. Chris Conley maybe he caught the best pass of the day from Brandon Allen. It was deep left field against two rookie safeties. It might have been a coverage bust of some kind because it was just two safeties there, Mustafa and Mahoney in coverage there, and it was just a beautiful ball thrown from Brandon Allen. And then as far as the tight ends goes, Brandon Willis has continued to look better in the second half of camp, playing more confidently. He's been way more aggressive. I think in the first half of camp, that was kind of my critique for him, that he wasn't super aggressive. He was kind of just letting himself get sunned, against defenders. And so that has completely changed in the second half. More confident, playing better through contact, and making sure he comes away with the ball. So that's been nice to see. And he's continues to get, targets throughout training camp. Jake Tongas got more targets and catches today. Hard to say how things are going to shake out in the tight end room after George Kittle. I think Eric Sauber is the favorite to be TE2 because we just haven't seen Logan Thomas. At this point, I don't think it's a guarantee that Logan Thomas even makes the team. He just hasn't been out there. And so I think it's Kittle, Eric Sauber for sure, and then maybe a toss-up between Brandon Willis and Jake Tongas. Both of those guys, I think, have had decent camps. Cam Latu working with the third team again today. So make of that what you will. As far as the offensive line, still no John Feliciano. Spencer Burford continues to do work on the side field while he comes back from his broken hand. I thought Jake Brendel struggled today. I saw Nick Zakel play one whole series with the first team at center in the middle of team periods, but very next time that the first team went out, Jake Brendel returned. So I don't know what that was about really, but that's kind of been a theme in camp, that at least when Feliciano was healthy and in there, they were rotating him and Brendel at center. So I don't know if the 49ers are all too convinced that Brendel is going to be their starting center, but at the same time, if this injury to Feliciano lingers, and it kind of has been throughout camp, they might not have any other choice. Colton McKivitz gave up would-be sacks from both Leonard Floyd and Nick Bosa at different points today in team periods. I did see Jalen Moore had wins against Bosa and Floyd in one-on-ones, but he did get beat in team periods by, I think, both of those guys at different points as well. Bosa had an incredible practice today and was just wrecking stuff in team periods. Dominic Cooney, he's... At this point, I'm running out of things to say about him because, he's been very consistent throughout camp. But I know since he's a rookie, there's a lot of excitement around him. I'll just say this. I don't think it's crazy to say that he's been the most consistent offensive lineman for the 49ers throughout this camp. That's not even crazy to say. He's been super consistent. And Jarrett Kingston, the other rookie, he had a pancake in one-on-ones today on Kalia Davis. That was fun. But I think he gave up a would-be sack in team periods. So some good and some bad from Kingston today. I will say this, and now I'm really getting into the weeds of deep offensive line guys who probably just end up on the practice squad or something. But tackle Isaac Alcaron, I believe he's the one that's the international pathway player this year. He's actually not that bad. He's put together some nice reps in one-on-one today as well. So just here and there, I notice him and he stands out sometimes. And as far as the defensive line, Sam Okoyenonu, He remains out. Jordan Elliott also did not practice today. It was weird because he was out there in the early portion of practice, but then I saw him on the side field, and then he left to the weight room, so I didn't see him after that. So he didn't practice. Gross Matos had a couple of wins that I saw in one-on-ones today. Robert Beal Jr. had a couple of would-be sacks today that I saw. I think he's looking pretty good. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the preseason and what he could do. I feel like he's slowly gaining some momentum throughout camp as well. As far as the linebackers, no Fred Warner or Demetrius Flanagan fouls today. Fred dealing with some foot irritation. Hopefully that gets cleared up pretty soon. I wouldn't expect him to play on Saturday anyway. But him being out did open up some opportunities for Curtis Robinson and Dee Winters to get first-team reps today. And one of the very first plays of team periods, Dee Winters blew up a run play. He showed great recognition and reaction time on that one. Devondre Campbell had a couple of plays in the run game today as well that I saw. I got to say, I think the run defense is going to look improved this season. It's hard to gauge that exactly based on practices where they don't actually tackle, but I see guys in position, and so I think that's a great sign for the run defense. As far as the DBs, still no Isaac Yiadom today, and similar to Jordan Elliott, Darrell Luter Jr., he was suited up, participated in the early portion of practice, but the next thing I knew, he was on the side field doing some individual drills. So I'm not sure what happened there with him, but he did not participate in 11-on-11s today. And then for Renardo Green, he continues to get work with the ones. That has been very encouraging to see. He was lining up outside while Lenore was in the slot when they're on nickel downs. So he's getting some action there outside. He made a number of plays today. He's been showing off his arm his arm length, his stickiness, and there were at least 2 forced incompletions today from him. One was intended for Juwan Jennings, and I feel like both of those guys had some good battles today. It was a ball in stride, outside the numbers. Green just gets his hands out to deflect it. Good play from him there. And look, the one caveat I will say on Renardo Green is that he's handsy, and that's something you even saw in his college tape. Doesn't always get called a whole lot, but I think that's something that is going to be an adjustment for him going into the NFL. I figured it was going to be an adjustment for him in camp. So yes, he did get called for a DPI today, and there was another play that I thought he should have been called. So really, it would have been 2, but he didn't actually throw the flag for the first play that I thought could have been. He was covering Tay Martin on a curl route, and he stays with him, but he sees the ball coming, and he wrapped his arm around Tay from behind before the ball got there. I saw it, but clearly I don't think the ref saw it, so he got away with that one there. And I'm sure at times in the NFL, in some games, he's going to be able to get away with it, but not all the time. So that's something he's going to have to adjust to in the NFL at some point. But he's good. He shows a lot of stickiness, great coverage, great impress man. Obviously, we've been new about that. Ambry Thomas, I think, had a better day today, but both him and Womack have been banished to third team, as has been most of camp. So they have an uphill climb to do. I expect both of those guys to probably get a lot of snaps on Saturday. Already talked about George Odom. He had the 2 picks today, so I thought he did pretty well. Malik Mustafa had an injury scare where he limped off the field, but the good news is he was able to come back in and play, so I don't expect there to be any injury there, but just something to monitor. But that is all for day 12 of 49ers training camp. That is all from my coverage from 49ers training camp this year. It's been a pleasure. I've had a lot of fun doing these rapid recaps for you guys, and I'll be back on Bully Ball on Tuesday. So for now, peace, guys.